You can't wait for the day to motivate you. You've got to create your own spark. Every day starts with a decision. Am I going to let the day own me, or am I going to own the day? When that alarm goes off, that's the first battle. And listen to me, if you lose that battle first thing in the morning, chances are you're going to lose more battles throughout the day. Winners make a decision before the sun comes up. They choose to rise when everyone else is sleeping. They choose to get after it when their body is telling them no, because they understand this. The one who dominates the morning dominates their life. I've met a lot of successful people, athletes, CEOs, world changers, and let me tell you something they all in common. They don't treat the morning casually. They don't wake up and just see where the day takes them. They wake up with purpose. They wake up with a plan. They wake up with a plan. Before they even open their eyes, their mind is already locked in on what needs to be done. That's the secret right there. Intentional mornings lead to powerful days. It's not about being a morning person. It's about being a purpose-driven person. See, most people wake up reacting. They reach for their phone first thing, scroll through other people's lives, check emails, look at problems they ain't even dealt with yet. You're already behind when you do that. You already gave your peace away. You gave your power away. It's not you, not if you want to win. You wake up and you get still. You get focused. You set your tone. That means prayer. That means journaling. That means silence. That means commanding your thoughts before the world tries to steal them. You don't react to the day, you direct it. You direct it, the morning is your sacred ground. It's when your mind is fresh, your energy is untapped, and your habits are being set. What you do in that first hour sets the trajectory for everything else. If you wake up lazy, the rest of the day gets lazy. If you wake up sharp, the rest of the day follows suit. Don't just roll out of bed. Rise up with authority. Remind yourself who you are and what you're building. Remind yourself of the dream. Nobody else is going to do it for you. It's on you to light that fire. When you dominate the morning, you do something psychological too. You tell your brain, I'm in charge. You create momentum, and momentum is powerful. Momentum makes discipline easier. Momentum silences excuses. That's an early workout, that cold shower, that planning session. It's not just about the task. It's about showing your subconscious who's in control. Every small win compounds. When you choose to execute in the morning, you build confidence that lasts all day. And me dominating your morning doesn't mean everything has to be perfect. It means you're consistent. It means you show up regardless of how you feel. Because let's be real, motivation ain't always going to be there at 5 a.m. Discipline will, habit will, hunger will, hunger will. Motivation is a guest, but discipline is family. It's the one that stays when the feelings fade. So don't wait for inspiration. Get up and create motion. When you move, clarity comes, synergy comes, purpose kicks in. That's how you win the first hour. You got to take it personal. Every morning is a gift. You don't get to waste it. There's somebody who didn't wake up today, somebody who wished for one more sunrise. But you got it, so how dare you treat it like it doesn't matter? You've been given another shot to grow, to grind, to get closer to your goals. So rise like it's your last chance. Rise like everything is on the line, because in reality it is. One wrong morning, one off day, and you can fall off track. That's why winners don't play with the morning. They own it. And owning the morning doesn't mean grinding until burnout. It means doing the right things first. It means clarity over chaos. It means you decide your priorities before the world throws distractions your way. It might be meditation, movement, studying, planning, affirming, reading, praying, whatever aligns you, whatever feeds the soul and sharpens the mind. That's how you set the tone. That's how you make the day yours before the world tries to take it. You've got to commit. You've got to draw a line in the sand and say, from this day forward, I don't snooze on my purpose. I don't sleep through my growth. I don't sleep through my growth. Don't casually roll into the day hoping for results. I wake up, I get up, and I go up. Because winning the day starts before the sun shows up. It starts with you. It starts with a mindset that refuses to lose. And if you can win that first battle, if you can beat the big, beat the doubt, beat the delay, you can win anything. Winning today isn't about making one massive leap. It's about stacking the little wins. It's about mastering the next decision, the next hour, the next moment. You see, the problem with most people is they want to skip steps. They want to jump from average to amazing overnight. They want the results without the repetition. But success doesn't work like that. Success is slow, it's boring, it's unglamorous. It's the little choices done with excellence, done with purpose, done consistently that build momentum. You don't become great by accident. You become great by waking up and making the bed with intention, by drinking water instead of soda, by choosing a 30-minute workout when your body says chill, by focusing during that 1-hour study block instead of scrolling through your phone. Small victory. That's how you build identity. That's how you create separation. Champions aren't made in the spotlight. They're made in those quiet, lonely hours where nobody's clapping, where nobody's watching, but the work is still getting done. You gotta understand the psychology behind this. Every time you win a small battle, whether it's showing up when you don't feel like it, resisting temptation, or staying locked in for one more task, you reinforce to yourself that you're someone who finishes. You build internal trust. You become yourself, you become dangerous. Because now you're not relying on motivation. You're not chasing hype. You're anchored in belief, built by proof. Proof that you can show up again and again, no matter what. Stacking small wins also creates something powerful. Momentum. And momentum is the cheat code to life. Once you've got momentum, discipline gets easier. Confidence starts growing. People start noticing. But momentum doesn't show up overnight. It's built brick by brick, action by action, decision by decision. You've got to treat every action like it matters, because it does. Nothing you do is insignificant. That 5-minute journaling session, it's not small. That one chapter you read, not small. That one email you sent, not small. It's all a part of the engine that moves you forward. And don't make the mistake of waiting for the big opportunity before you go all in. The big opportunity is hidden inside today's small responsibilities. The big moments are shaped by how you handle the little ones. You're not going to get the spotlight if you can't handle the shadow. You're not going to be trusted with the stage if you can't be faithful in silence. So stop despising the small stuff. Embrace it. Own it. Master it. Every step matters. Every task matters. Every rep, every word, every choice, it all counts. People love to talk about goals, but goals without systems are just dreams. You can't control the outcome, but you can control your input. That's why the daily wins matter. That's why you focus on what's in your hands today, not what's 5 years away. You want to lose weight? Don't worry about losing 50 pounds. Focus on today's meals. You want to build a business? Don't worry about 6-figure. Focus on building value today. You want to become the best version of yourself? Don't get overwhelmed by the vision. Focus on how you speak, act, move, and think today. That's how you win. Small wins compound. They build momentum like a snowball rolling downhill. But the opposite is also true. Small losses add up too. You skip one workout, then another. You snooze once, then again. You make one lazy decision, and then it becomes normal. You've got to be conscious. You've got to be deliberate. Because either your habits are building you or they're breaking you. There's no neutral. And it all starts with the choices you make today, right now. The beauty of small wins is that they're always available. You don't have to wait. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect conditions. You can win by choosing to be present, by showing up with energy, by giving just 1% more than yesterday. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to keep showing up. That's what separates winners. They don't rely on talent. They rely on talent. They rely on discipline. They don't hope for results. They build them day by day, step by step. And when you stack enough small wins, something incredible happens. You start to shift your identity. You stop saying, I'm trying, and you start saying, I'm trying, and you start saying, this is who I am. You're no longer just someone with goals. You're someone who executes. You're no longer talking about potential. You're living in purpose. That shift is everything. Because once your identity catches up with your actions, you become unstoppable. Now you're not forcing growth. You're flowing in it. So understand this. You don't need to crush every moment to win the day. You just need to win more than you lose. You just need to string together enough intentional action that tilt the scale in your favor. How the pros do it. That's how the greats are built. You're not always going to feel like it. That's the truth people don't want to hear. There are going to be days when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when life doesn't go your way. And in those moments, if you let your emotions decide your actions, you're going to fall behind. You can't build your dream based on how you feel. You've got to execute regardless of the emotion, because emotions are temporary, but your purpose is permanent. You don't get to the top by giving in to how you feel. You get there by showing up locked in and dialed into the mission, even when your body and mind say quit. There will be moments when your energy is low, your motivation is gone, and your mind starts telling you, you've done enough. That's the moment where most people check out. That's the moment when the average step back, when the mediocre slow down, when the weak give up. But not you. You gotta be different. You gotta recognize that greatness is born in those exact moments. When you push through the resistance, when you ignore the voice that says stop, and instead turn up your focus, turn up your effort, and get it done. That's when growth happens. That's when separation happens. Too many people live based on their feelings. They feel lazy, so they skip the work. They feel discouraged, so they pause the dream. They feel nervous, so they don't take the shot. That's not how champions think. Champions acknowledge how they feel, but they don't let it control them. They don't let fear dictate their future. They don't let doubt delay their destiny. They move anyway. They work anyway. They believe anyway. That's how they win. You got to develop the mindset that says, I do it whether I feel like it or not. I'm not a slave to emotion. I'm the master of execution. And this isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about learning to manage them. It's about learning to manage them. Because when you start leading with emotion, you start reacting instead of responding. You start making decisions based on the mood of the moment instead of the mission you committed to. That's dangerous. That's how you sabotage progress. That's how you end up stuck, frustrated and wondering why nothing changes. But when you flip the script and tell yourself, I don't need to feel ready, I just need to start, everything changes. Now you're moving with maturity. Now you're choosing purpose over comfort. Now you're becoming unstoppable. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to do it. That's the real flex. Anybody can grind when they're excited. Anybody can show up when they're hyped. But only the discipline can execute in the dark, in the silence, in the struggle. That's where the real ones rise. When everybody else folds under pressure, you got to be the one who stays locked in. When emotions try to pull you in the wrong direction, you plant your feet and say, oh, no, I've got work to do. I've got a future to build. You've got to be your own anchor. And understand this, your feelings are not facts. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you are weak. Just because you feel overwhelmed doesn't mean you can't handle it. Just because you feel behind doesn't mean you're not making progress. You've got to start questioning your emotions instead of bowing to them. Ask yourself, is this feeling based on truth? Or is it just my brain trying to keep me comfortable? Because most of the time, your feelings are just fear in disguise. And fear will always try to keep you average. When you start choosing execution over emotion, you take back your power. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing excellence. And excellence isn't about perfection. It's about doing your best in every situation, no matter how you feel. It's about giving effort when no one is watching. It's about doing the work that others won't, because you know the results they'll never see. That's the difference. That's what makes a winner. And here's the truth. When you move despite how you feel, the feelings often change. When you push through fatigue and start working, energy returns. When you fight through doubt and take action, confidence shows up. When you stay consistent in the face of fear, courage starts to build. You don't wait to feel good to act, you act, and the good feelings come later. That's how momentum is built. That's how greatness is shaped. Through grit, through guts, through the grind. You're gonna have hard days. Days when nothing makes sense. Days when the vision seems distant. But those days are not your enemy. They're your opportunity. Your chance to prove how serious you are. Anybody can move when the conditions are perfect. But you move no matter what. That's what makes you different. That's what puts you ahead. So the next time you feel like quitting, remind yourself of the reason you started. The next time your emotions try to pull you off course, lock in even harder. Winning the day starts with mastering your mindset. Your thoughts control your action, and your actions control your outcomes. If your mindset is weak, your day will be weak. If your mindset is strong, your day will follow that strength. Everything begins in the mind. If you wake up believing it's going to be a bad day, guess what? It probably will be. But if you wake up and decide, I'm in control of how I respond, how I'm gonna think, and how I act, then you give yourself the power to win, no matter what comes your way. See, too many people wait for their circumstances to change before they shift their mindset. They think, oh, when things get better, I'll think more positively. When I feel more confident, I'll take action. But it doesn't work like that. Your mindset has to shift before your life does. You gotta start telling yourself a new story, even when your current situation doesn't look like success. You gotta start thinking like a winner, even when your bank account, your grades, or your environment say otherwise. Your mindset is the foundation. And if the foundation is broken, the whole structure will collapse. A strong mindset means you take responsibility for your thoughts. You don't let fear, doubt, or negativity run wild in your head. You stop those thoughts. You challenge them. You replace them with truth. When fear says you can't do this, you respond, I've done harder things before. When doubt says, you're not enough, you answer, I'm growing every day. When excuses say, I'll take it easy, you declare, I've got goals that demand more. That's mental discipline. That's mental toughness. And it's something you develop by choosing the right thought every single time. You have to protect your mind like it's sacred ground, because it is. What you consume mentally matters. Who you listen to matters. What you speak to yourself matters. If you're constantly filling your mouth with junk negativity, gossip, complaining, distractions, don't be surprised when your energy drops and your productivity crashes. But if you fill your mind with growth books, truth, gratitude goals, then you'll start to feel powerful, focused, clear. That's the edge you need to win the day. Because life doesn't just happen to you. It happens through you. And it flows from the thoughts you feed your mind. And you've got to be aware. Your mind will always drift toward comfort. That's its default setting, survival. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you from stress, risk, or effort. That's why you hear that voice saying, just stay in bed. Just take the shortcut. Just do it tomorrow. But if you let that voice run your life, you'll stay stuck. You'll never grow. You gotta lead your mind. You've gotta rewire it daily to chase purpose, not comfort. That means reminding yourself of your why. That means meditating on your goals. That means being intentional about where your thoughts go. Because where your thoughts go, your life follows. And when adversity hits, and it will, your mindset is the only thing that will keep you standing. Life is going to throw some punches. You're going to get hit with disappointment, failure, betrayal, loss. And when that moment comes, you got two choices, fold or fight. The ones who fold are the ones whose mindset was never prepared. But the fighters, the ones who rise, they're the ones who already trained their mind before the battle came. They already rehearsed strength. They already built resilience. That's why they don't crumble when the storm hits. They rise in the middle of it. The mind is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through resistance. You don't develop mental strength by avoiding hard things. You develop it by doing them. Every time you overcome temptation, push through fear, or choose focus over distraction, you strengthen that mental muscle. You make it easier to do it again next time. That's why repetition is so powerful. The more you practice powerful thoughts, the more natural they become. Before long, you're not forcing a positive mindset, you're living it. It becomes your new default. And don't underestimate the power of your self-talk. How you speak to yourself creates your internal reality. If you're always saying, I can't, I'm tired, I'm stressed, not good enough, you're programming your mind to believe that. But if you flip the script and start declaring, I'm focused, I'm capable, I've got what it takes, then your brain starts operating from that reality. You start to move like someone who believes. You start to act like someone who's already won. That inner dialogue becomes your fuel. Mindset also includes gratitude. You can't win the day if you're always focused on what's wrong. Gratitude shifts your mind from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you of what's working, what's possible, what's already good. And from that place, you find energy, you find creativity, you find resilience. Gratitude doesn't make you soft, it makes you strong. There's no point in having a great plan, a strong mindset, and a list of goals if you don't take action. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. You can talk about it all day, You can think about it, plan it, visualize it, but until you move, nothing changes. Action is the separator. It's what defines the ones who win from the ones who wish. A strong mindset without action is just untapped potential. The most successful people in the world didn't just think big, they moved big. They made decisions. They took steps. They didn't wait for perfection. They acted, learned, adjusted, and kept moving. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment to start. If you're waiting until you feel 100% ready, you'll wait forever. Clarity comes through motion. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Come, just take the first step. The first rep, the first page, the first call. You start by doing something, and that action creates momentum. That momentum builds confidence, and that confidence pushes you further. You can't sit around waiting for the fire to show up. You gotta create the spark yourself. When you take action consistently, even in small ways, you build the habit of winning. You begin to trust yourself. You stop questioning your worth and start proving it through results. And the more you act, the more you learn what works and what doesn't. Action is the greatest teacher. You can't think your way to growth. You have to work your way there. You have to be willing to try to fail, to get back up and go again. That's where the strength is. Not always getting it right, but in refusing to stay still. Too many people are paralyzed by powerful thinking. They ask, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if people judge me? But the real question is, what if you don't try? What happens if you play it safe? If you sit on your talent? If you let fear dictate your entire life? You already know that answer. You stay stuck. You stay behind. You become the person who had potential but never realized it. And that's the most painful place to be, watching others win the life you were too afraid to chase. Action requires courage, not because action is always hard, but because it forces you to face discomfort. When you take action, you expose yourself to challenge, to judgment, to failure. But that's where the growth happens. That's where greatness is forged. Every step you take in the face of fear is a victory. Every moment you act despite doubt, you become stronger. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when fear is loud. That's what separates leaders from followers, movers from watchers, winners from wishers. Taking action also creates results that motivate others. You want to lead? You want to inspire your family, your team, your community? Then act. Nothing speaks louder than effort. Nothing impacts people more than consistency. When they see you show up daily grinding, pushing, growing, they start to believe they can too. Your action gives them permission to act. Your energy becomes contagious. And before you know it, your life isn't just moving forward, it's pulling others with it. But let's be real, bro, let's be real. Action isn't always easy. There will be resistance, there will be days when it feels pointless, when your effort isn't producing instant results. When no one is cheering you on, those are the defining moments. That's where character is revealed. When you show up anyway, when you do the reps anyway, when you act not because of how you feel, but because of what you're committed to. That's what builds winners. That's what creates unstoppable momentum, and you gotta understand that massive success is usually just a series of small actions repeated with discipline. It's not one viral moment or one lucky break. It's the result of waking up every day and choosing to do what others won't. To work when it's inconvenient, to focus when it's boring, to push when it's painful. That's the formula. Daily action stacked over time creates exponential growth. And even when you fall, even when you make mistakes, action keeps you in motion. You adjust, you learn, you course correct. But at least you're in the game. You're gaining experience. You're becoming battle tested. You can't course correct if you never take the trip. So start moving. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait until it all makes sense. Take action. Learn as you go, grow as you move. Grow as you move. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to your future. Every piece of effort is an investment in your next level. You may not feel it now, but the compound effect is real. One workout, one focused hour, one uncomfortable conversation. It all matters, it all adds up. You're not wasting time when you take action. You're building legacy. So if you want to win the day, act like it. Don't just say you want it, move like you mean it. Set the tone early, get up, lock in to do something that moves you closer to your purpose.